Morning, everybody. First of all, happy birthday, Ben Kim. Today.
He's not here.
Anyway, that's right. Sam, give him a happy birthday. We've been through the year service, so I'll skip that one. Also, Matt and Amy want to announce they're having another baby too, so he's in the other group. They want me to let everyone know. So I'll hand over to Reece to go through the previous week's switching toolbox summary.
Just some general stuff. We've had some LV, LSB issues with log limits and addresses. The action for that is that we need to fill out the feedback form so the office people know that it's going wrong. Otherwise, they can't change if they don't know to try and improve it. Last week we had a gel, maybe the week before. Last week we had a generator with a cold load pickup. So Cam Fraser's going to look into that and see if there's anything we missed that's not in the directions in the book. Just some things to reinforce. Tough pad navigation is not to be a strong source of location confirmation. Always verify your device against multiple sources, feeder plans or mobile TC maps. A few people having issues with the navigation, I think. All copies of SPs and LVLSPs are filled out with names at the top of the sheets. So just makes it easier for them to have to go back and everyone knows what sheet's theirs. And always confirm your test gear before you use it. Definitely on the safer side for that one. Good switching practices. So again, well done to the people pushing through the LVLSPs that aren't always correct. Shows that you're on the ball out the field and know what you're doing. Good work, Aaron Kendall, for having a keen to learn attitude while on the after hours cable fault. I think Tim was very keen to learn and had good awareness of how public lighting and underground systems work. Good news stories. We're now 71 days without an incident, so well done. Keep up the good work. Want to get a lot more than that. And obviously 7 o'clock here every morning for the quick chats.
Thanks, Reece. Ryan, couple of switching alerts. Go through, mate.
There's one switching alert and a live work bulletin. I'll start with the switching alert. So it's a week old and it started on the 1st of July. There was some emergency switching during a storm event. They were working on one feeder fed from a substation. They put the CB into non-auto prior to re-energising, and a week later it was identified that CB was left in non-auto for the entire week. So once it was identified, they placed it back to auto and removed the control block tag. During the week that it was left in non-auto, there were no incidents on that feeder, so it didn't drop off due to one trip while it was in non-auto. So there was no loss of supply, no injury to personnel or damage, but it just goes to show that you really need to understand your switching. Being an emergency switching program, there were less eyes that ran over it, but if you really understand your switching and you know what you're doing, one of the guys could have picked up that it was being left in non-auto. So just make sure you take the time, go through those supervisory items. It's something we always overlook a bit. All right. Second one's a live work bulletin. It's for glove and barrier workers only, but we've got one here, so we'll go over it. What were they doing? They were glove and barrier workers were removing some arcing horns at a dead end pole. While removing them with a recipro saw, the vibrations caused the J-phase fuse to fall out the fuse base. That dropped off the transformer fed from the over to under. So as part of the hazard ID, crews should consider the potential for the fuses to be falling out of the fittings, and wherever possible, disconnect and remove the entire arcing horn. That's about all for that one.
Yeah, so we had a near miss for the CNS and level switcher sheet last week as well. So on Monday, 6th of July, we had a skip down and replaced 2 dominant arms. At approximately 11:30, the crew on site was notified that customers were left without power. Crews on site made work site safe and put the power back on as soon as possible. So upon investigation, it was found that the CNS map was updated to show opening the logo, set of logo as tapped to minimise the outage, but the LVLSP was not changed to match, which resulted in loss supply to approximately 40 customers. So we made some changes in our process and make sure that's not going to happen again in the office. Next on the list Fleet Workshop let us back in there to wash our trucks down, but unfortunately someone's been there and left it in quite a state, so that's not good enough. If you're going to go there to wash a truck, you've got to leave it clean or cleaner than when you found it. It's good of them to let us go there. They got to wash down their truck page to be tested and all sorts, so it needs to be clean. Right. So don't go there if you're not prepared to clean up after yourself.
Cops were saying with the truck wash, it's really dirty to take that back there to start with. They try not to as much of it off.
Because it hose down the back.
So some general depot stuff. Previous date indicated finish times after 7. I think Darryl will talk about this. So I'm not sure exactly because he's over there, but I believe if you're working over midnight, you've got to make sure you hit the previous indicated button. Anyone know anything more about that?
Paddy's a tough man.
Paddy is a tough man.
That's right.
I think that's about it, to be honest. Yeah, working night. It used to be called previous day indicator.
I think it's if you start a second job. If you start a second job afterwards, it'll pretty much start your minimum again. Doesn't understand that it's continuing on.
Surely it's all over. See, because we do that a couple of times. If we work over midnight, it's alright, but if you work past 7 the next day, that's when it starts up on your time sheet.
Okay.
So, yeah, if you're doing a job that starts say like 11 and you finish at 8, sign the job off at like 6:59 and then start that job again at 7 and go to 8 or something like that. That's how Julia explained it to me.
Got a bit dark about that one. I've only just had my couple of training the other day, so I'm just sure the change. So next we've got a few safety alerts. Number 867, testing stovepoles and columns. So there have been multiple events where stovepoles and columns have not been tested at completion of power line works. This failure ensured asset is not energised poses a real risk to the community and workers. In one event, a power line worker received a mild electric shock when reinstating the white column access panel. So possible causes are transposition of active and neutral cables in the light fittings, pinched active cables in the light fittings or access panels, and low voltage neutral bonds inadvertently connect to an active phase. And reduced clearances and temporary covering / installation arrangements. So learning points, the low voltage manual safety rules section 1.2.2 testing states that all metal structures and conductor components with new or altered overhead underground low voltage arrangements must be tested when you finish working on them. These events serve as a time reminder to test every time before touching an object that can become conductive. When proving a light column / pole has no voltage present after carrying out SLO works, ensure the light is on to obtain a true voltage reading when testing the column or pole. Low voltage fuse protection may not operate due to the high resistance of the column, pole or earth. Alright, is everyone over that? Anytime we're changing the pole or doing any alterations, we should be checking that pole's not wrong. Next safety alert, we had a low voltage conductor brought down during tree pruning. So it looks like a tree contractor was out cutting the tree down with a stick saw from the ground, and they didn't see that conductor was actually grown over, so the tree's actually grown over the conductor. So when they lopped it down, it's fallen and pulled that wide of the ground. So required actions from that is ensure a thorough risk assessment is undertaken, including using an EWP anytime vegetation has reached conductor level. Ensure the contractor engaged to undertake the work is accredited. Do not attempt to prune branches that are at conductor level from the ground. Alright. Next one, in our L12 switching cubicle destructive failure. So it looks like one of these switching cubicles has blown up. Yeah. So recently a now 12 switching cubicle suffered an internal destructive failure just prior to asset management officers arriving on site to inspect and complete annual integrity checks. The unit was isolated for further replacement. The unit was isolated for further replacement and investigation, which is currently ongoing. The cause of the failure is currently being investigated by the reliability operations team. So key facts, now 12 and related FN12 switching cubicles are configured to ensure internal failures are contained within the units. Therefore, the failure of that posed minimal risk to SA Power Networks or the general public. This cubicle itself wasn't green tagged at the time of the event, so there was no low risk of anyone entering it. So it just highlights the purpose of the green tags is to confirm the safe access and operating condition of the equipment to other field officers and switching operators. As such, green tags are annually applied, maintained, removed by trade asset management officers on completion of the individual unit inspections. This includes external risk assessments of the unit, including visual, radio frequency, audible and odour, ozone detection to acceptable levels before proceeding to internal access by qualified personnel. Unacceptable results to this point provide a likely indication of the unit's degrading condition, resulting in the removal of green tags without opening the doors. So just always be very mindful, make sure you check that it's green tagged in date before you're opening any of those switching pins. And that's about all that, unless anyone else has got anything else. Cool, thanks guys, good day.